After my family went bankrupt, I saw my husband's group chat. She checks in on me every day and demands I'm home before 9. No alcohol smell, no cigarette smell. A whole pile of ridiculous rules. She treats me like a dog and orders me around. Now that her family's gone under, if she keeps controlling me like this, I'm divorcing her. But the moment I stopped acting up, stopped controlling him, and stopped ordering him around, my husband pinned me on the bed with watery, aggrieved eyes and demanded, "Why aren't you controlling me? Why aren't you making me do things? Do you have another dog now?" Jason Ford got home at 9:01 p.m. Just as he was about to come in, I stopped him at the door and snapped, "Do you know what time it is?" Jason frowned impatiently and glanced down at his watch. "The traffic was awful today. I'm only 1 minute late. It's not that serious, is it?" I gave a cold snort. "If you dare come home 1 minute late today, you'll dare come home 10 minutes late tomorrow. And after that? You'll start daring to stay out all night." He opened his mouth as if to argue, then shut it again, looking completely speechless. We stood off for a few seconds. Then he apologized. "I'm wrong. Let me in, okay?" I huffed. "Fine. I'll forgive you this once. But if you dare come home late again, don't even think about getting through that door." Right then, my dad called. "Hannah, Dad has one piece of good news and one piece of bad news. Which do you want to hear first?" I rolled my eyes. "Dad, aren't you being childish? Tell me the good news first." My dad fell silent for a moment, then said, "Let's do the bad news first. Our family is bankrupt." I froze where I stood. "Oh, right, and the good news is, we still have a tiny bit of money left. I'm going to take that money and move overseas with your mom and your little brother. You just stay here and live properly with Jason. He won't treat you badly. Once your mom, your brother, and I are settled abroad, I'll call you." With that, Dad hung up, leaving me alone, utterly at a loss. Jason came out of the bathroom carrying a foot-soaked tub filled with hot water. He set it down in front of me, squatted naturally, and peeled off my socks with practiced ease, lowering my feet into the tub. The warmth finally snapped me back to myself. Jason lifted his head and asked, "What's wrong with you? Why do you look so pale?" I stared at Jason. "My family went bankrupt." Jason looked as though he'd seen it coming. Calmly, he said, "Your company has been on the brink for a while. I invested to help your father, but the hole was too big. There was no saving it." I couldn't accept it. I got up and went back to the bedroom to sleep. But I never slept soundly. I woke in the middle of the night. Jason, beside me, was already asleep with an eye mask on. Then the phone on his nightstand lit up. I couldn't sleep anyway, so I quietly picked it up. His passcode was my birthday. I'd forced him to set it that way, so he'd remember my birthday for the rest of his life. After I entered the code, I opened WeChat. It was messages from his brother's group chat. "Our brother Jason is finally growing a spine for once." I frowned and scrolled up through the chat history. This is infuriating. Today I came home 1 minute late, and she blocked me at the door. I had to apologize before she'd let me in. Now her family's bankrupt. If she keeps controlling me like this, I'm divorcing her. One of his brothers replied, "Take this chance to fix your little princess's nasty temper, brother Jason. Bring back your old style, prove you're not some henpecked husband. See? You never listen when your brothers warn you. Now you're suffering the consequences. Before you got married, I told you, Miss Riley family is pretty, sure, but her temper is terrible. Our brother Jason is someone with real status out there, and at home he's being managed like a dog by the little miss. She's grinding brother Jason's pride into the dirt. Once brother Jason straightens out the one at home, we'll go back to the way things were, getting together and drinking all night." Agreed. Agreed +1. My hand trembled slightly, but I kept scrolling. She's absolutely going too far. She actually made me wash her feet, ordering me around like I'm a servant. When she's on her period, she uses me as a punching bag. I so much as shifted in my seat and she threw a pillow at me, saying I was bothering her. If I sit far away and don't dare move, she cusses me out for being heartless and not caring about her. What the hell, now even my breathing is wrong. She doesn't even treat me like a person. I shut off the phone, unable to process it for a moment. So Jason had been holding this much resentment toward me. He must hate me. He must want to divorce me. And now I had nothing. My parents and my little brother had moved overseas. I couldn't even get through to them on the phone anymore. If we divorced, what would I do? Jason and I were together because of a family alliance. He had a first love from college. They hadn't been together long before their families tore them apart. Mrs. Ford gave that girl $1 million and sent her abroad. After that, he never dated anyone. Not until he took over the company and married me for the alliance. He didn't seem willing at all. He probably couldn't let go of his first love. I didn't care. Out of all the possible alliance matches, Jason was the best option. His looks and physique were flawless, his ability was outstanding, and he was clean, no kept women, no messy side arrangements. We'd only met once before we got married. We married in a rush and moved in together. He was always busy at work and came home very late, constantly disrupting my beauty sleep. And most of the time, he came back reeking of alcohol. I hated the smell of alcohol. I'd been spoiled since I was a child. After getting married, I wasn't about to wrong myself, so I set the rules. He had to be home before 9 every night. And he couldn't smell like alcohol or cigarettes. At first Jason didn't take it seriously at all. He kept coming home late, still smelling of alcohol. I got angry and changed the locks at home. He knocked for ages before I finally opened the door slowly and warned him, if you come home late again, or if I smell alcohol on you again, don't bother coming in. He laughed in anger. But after that, he came home before 9 every night, and there was no alcohol or cigarette smell on him. So little by little, I started ordering Jason around. I would only eat fruit, shrimp, and crab if they were already peeled. When I wanted a foot soak, he had to carry the tub over and wash my feet. If the water was too hot or too cold, he had to dump it and draw it again, until I was satisfied. If I was unhappy on my period, I took it out on him, too. That was how my mom treated my dad, so I never thought there was anything wrong with it. But things were different now. I had to reform completely. I couldn't let Jason hate me. I'd planned to get up and make Jason breakfast. But I didn't get up. Instead, Jason woke up first. Out of habit, I stuck out my foot. He picked up my sock and started putting it on for me. Halfway through, I realized something was wrong. I couldn't order him around like this anymore. I shot upright in bed. I snatched my sock from his hand and, in an overly sweet voice, said, "Honey, I can do it myself." I had never called Jason honey before. The moment it left my mouth, even I felt awkward. And it wasn't just me, Jason's eyes flickered with surprise. He froze for a few seconds, then got up and left. After I washed up and came into the living room, Jason's prepared breakfast was already on the table. He set a glass of freshly made juice in front of me, then changed his clothes and got ready to leave. Before he left, he walked over with a sour face, leaning in as if to kiss me. That was one of my rules. Before he left for work, he had to kiss me once. He always obeyed, but every time he looked reluctant. Now I didn't dare force him. I pushed him away. "You don't have to make yourself kiss me. Hurry and go to work." He stared at me with a look that said, "Let's see what trick you're playing this time." I urged him again, and only then did he turn and leave. But when he reached the door, he suddenly turned back and strode toward me. He lifted my chin with one hand and kissed me fiercely. He didn't stop until I was breathless. Then he wiped his mouth, looking at me with open disgust. "Can you stop playing these little games? Playing hard to get doesn't suit you." I was completely baffled. Playing hard to get? What game was I playing? That evening, Jason called. "Tonight I'm getting together with some friends. I'll be home before 9. I hurriedly said, No, don't worry about it. Stay out as long as you want. It's fine even if you don't come home." There was a long silence on the other end before he hung up. I was being so understanding. Surely he wouldn't hate me anymore, right? I didn't have the auntie come cook. I ordered fried chicken and cola. To keep my figure, I only let myself have it once a month. I sat on the sofa and watched TV for a while. Then I heard footsteps outside. I thought my delivery had arrived, so I ran to the door barefoot to open it. Jason saw my bare feet, frowned, and swept me up in his arms, carrying me back to the sofa. With a look of disdain, he said, "Do you really have to be this excited just because I'm home?" I glanced at the time. It was only around 8. Confused, I asked, "Why are you home so early? Weren't you going to meet up with your friends?" He let out a cold snort. "Don't think I can't hear the sarcasm in your voice on the phone. Wasn't your whole point that you didn't want me to go? When had I been sarcastic?" He didn't even wait for me to explain. He took off his suit jacket and went into the kitchen, rolling up his sleeves and starting to cook. I sat on the sofa. Jason's phone lit up again. He couldn't see the living room from the kitchen, so I quietly picked up his phone. The message was still from his brother's group chat. "Jason, she's mad. No get-together tonight. His brothers, her family's bankrupt and she's still that arrogant? Brother Jason, what's going on? Can you grow a spine for once? Jason, this is the last bit of indulgence I'll give her, for the sake of us being married. If she pulls this again next time, I'm divorcing her. His brothers, you'd better mean it." My vision went black for a second. No, how was I mad? Jason's birthday banquet was held at a villa on the outskirts of the city. Almost everyone who mattered in the capital showed up. Halfway through the party, a security guard came in and said to me, "Miss Riley, there's a girl outside who says she knows Mr. Ford, but she doesn't have an invitation. Should we let her in?" I thought for a moment, then followed the guard out. I recognized the girl at once, Jason's first love, Bella Rivers. When Bella saw me, she looked delicate and pitiful. I just want to see him once. In the past, I would have dismissed her with contempt. Back then, my family stood behind me. I had people to back me up. But now it was gone. And Jason didn't like me. He could divorce me at any time. Still, I didn't dare let her in. I was terrified that if Jason still couldn't let go of her, old feelings would flare back to life. Then everything would have been for nothing, just handing him back to her on a silver platter. The security guard looked at me for an answer. I swallowed it down and only shook my head, then turned and went back into the banquet hall. After a few drinks, my head started to swim, so I went upstairs to a lounge to rest. When I came back down, Bella had gotten in somehow. The two of them seemed to be talking about something. Suddenly, a man's voice sounded right beside my ear. "Your husband's chatting with his first love. Don't you want to go over and hear what they're talking about?" I turned and looked at him, recognizing him immediately. Patrick Hayes, Jason's sworn enemy. The Ford family and the Hayes family had been friends for generations, but Jason and Patrick's relationship was terrible to the extreme. If it weren't for their elder's sake, the two of them would probably have fought to the death a long time ago. I ignored him and turned to go upstairs. Patrick followed right behind me, chattering nonstop. "Miss Riley, I'm sincerely trying to help you. Why are you ignoring me? You're breaking my heart. But me, I'm the helpful type. If you want a divorce, you can come to me. You know our family's been lawyers for generations, especially divorce lawyers. A professional team. We'll help you split Jason's assets." I stopped and whirled around, glaring at him. "Who said I'm getting divorced?" Patrick curled his lip. "Stop kidding yourself. Isn't it only a matter of time? You two married because your families were equals. Now your family's bankrupt, he doesn't have feelings for you, and his first love is back." He hit me right in the softest part of my chest. So infuriating. I kicked Patrick hard. He yelped in pain, and only then did I feel a little better. I turned and went upstairs. Inside the lounge, I paced back and forth in agitation. Every second felt like torture. All I could do was keep telling myself to calm down. When the door opened, I thought Patrick had come looking for me again. Annoyed, I grabbed the drink beside me and splashed it straight toward his face. When I turned and saw Jason's face, it was already too late. The wine hit his face. Jason froze slightly. It dripped down from the messy fringe at his forehead. His expression darkened, his voice edged with anger. "What did I do to make you unhappy again? Even on my birthday, you can't give me a little face, can you?" I panicked and tried to explain. "No, I didn't, He didn't listen. He slammed the door and left. I was done for. He definitely thought I was ill-tempered, spoiled, willful, unbearable. He must hate me. I collapsed onto the sofa, feeling the divorce inching closer and closer. The banquet ended. The guests filed out one after another. The house staff stayed behind to clean up. Jason and I got into the car to return to our place in the city. All the way home, neither of us said a word. After we got home, Jason went to the bathroom to shower. I lay under the covers, my face buried in the blanket, my mind a tangled mess. The more I thought, the more chaotic it got. The more chaotic it got, the sleepier I felt. Before I knew it, I drifted off. Half asleep, half awake, I felt someone pull me into their arms. He buried his face in my neck and bit down on my shoulder. I let out 2 uncomfortable little whimpers. Only then did he loosen his teeth, replacing it with a few light kisses. Jason left on a business trip the very next day. I asked a couple of girlfriends out shopping to lift my mood. I bought a lot, and I felt a little better. One friend comforted me from the side. "Don't worry. It's just some little first love. If they really wanted to rekindle something, they wouldn't be chatting so openly in public like that." It made sense. My mood improved again. So I rewarded myself by buying even more. Then I called the bodyguard to come help carry everything home. Back at home, I flopped onto the sofa, just about to video call Jason to check in on him. And then I realized I couldn't do that anymore. That would only annoy him more. I tossed my phone aside and started binge-watching a drama. When I finished and picked up my phone, I realized Jason had called me, over 40 video calls. I thought something urgent must have happened, so I quickly called him back. The video call was rejected. I got a little angry. He actually dared to hang up on me. Then the door opened. Jason strode toward me. He must have rushed, his fringe was damp with sweat and stuck to his forehead, and he was breathing a little hard. Before I could even ask, wasn't he on a business trip? "How are you back already?" he demanded furiously. "Why weren't you answering your phone?" I blinked. My phone was on silent. Then I looked at him and asked, "Aren't you supposed to come back tomorrow? You rushed back like this, don't tell me it was because I didn't answer your call." He froze for a beat, then dodged my gaze. "You're overthinking it. It was Jason's university anniversary celebration. The school invited him back to give a speech. I asked to go with him. Because I'd heard Bella would be there, too. Jason didn't refuse. On the day of the celebration, the campus was lively. After Jason and I went in, he started chatting with the principal. I got bored, so I wandered around on my own. On the field, some guys were playing basketball. There was a decent crowd watching, so I went over to join the excitement. To be honest, the guys playing had pretty great bodies. Especially one of them, perfect lean muscle, and he was handsome, too. Every time he scored, I cheered. Suddenly, Jason's icy voice came from behind me. "Having fun watching, are you?" I jumped, startled by his sudden appearance, and complained, "What's wrong with you? You walk without making any sound." His voice turned even colder. "Or could it be you were watching too intently?" I made a no sound. "That guy really plays amazingly, and his body is seriously good." Jason was silent for a moment. Then he took off his suit jacket, tossed it over me, rolled up the sleeves of his dress shirt, and walked toward the group of guys playing basketball. They recognized him as an alumnus and eagerly invited him to join them. He went in. I didn't get it. Why was he going to join in while wearing dress shoes? I wasn't sure whether people were going easy on him. But he sank several three-pointers in a row. He actually looked pretty capable. After he made another three, he glanced over in my direction. That was when I noticed Bella was in the crowd, too. She was standing not far from me. When it ended, the crowd dispersed. Bella followed the flow of people toward the stage where the speeches would be held. Jason took the jacket from my hands and put it on. I haven't played in years. And wearing formal clothes really limits my movement, otherwise I could have played even better. I was spacing out and didn't hear a word he said. Jason said unhappily, "Were you even listening to me?" I snapped back to my senses. "What did you say?" His brows knit even tighter. He turned and walked away. What did I do to irritate him this time? He was even harder to please than I was. Before the anniversary celebration began, Bella was surrounded by a group of younger students. "Senior, we've heard your story with the alumnus. He gave you 999 roses downstairs at the dorm building. I even found photos of you two on the confession wall. You looked so perfect together. Senior, are you still together? Senior, did you come today with him?" Sitting off to the side, a sour jealousy rose in my chest. Jason had given me flowers before, but only because I'd made him buy them and hand them to me. He'd never once bought them for me on his own. When we got home, I lay on the bed scrolling on my phone. Jason came out after his shower with a towel wrapped around his waist. He'd steamed off his body. His abs and the sharp lines at his hips were on full display. A few beads of water slid down along the contours of his muscles. I lifted my eyes and looked at him. I kind of wanted him. After we got married, I set a rule, 4 times a week, no less, no more. Less than that, I wouldn't be satisfied. More than that, I couldn't handle it. The recent business trip had thrown things off. We hadn't interacted for 3 days. Right now I wanted to pounce on him like I used to. But every time Jason did it with me, he never looked willing. Like I was ordering him to do it. I didn't dare force him now. I lowered my head and kept scrolling, trying to distract myself. But Jason kept wandering back and forth right in front of me. I couldn't stand it anymore and looked up at him. "Can you put on some clothes?" He shot me a glance, then pulled on a set of pajamas. At 9:30, my alarm rang. I put on my eye mask, ready for my beauty sleep. But Jason beside me kept tossing and turning. In the past, I would have already kicked him out of the bedroom. Now I could only endure it. I took off my eye mask and patted him. "Can't you sleep?" Jason turned and pressed me down beneath him. I stared up at him, completely confused. "What are you doing?" He said with disdain, "I knew you couldn't hold back. You asked if I can't sleep, aren't you just hinting you want it? Next time you want it, just say so. Stop beating around the bush." I honestly thought Jason's comprehension skills had a serious problem. I was about to explain when he kissed me. That night, Jason was especially intense. And I couldn't help wondering, was he stimulated because he'd seen Bella today? The thought made me angry, and it made me feel wronged. When I drifted off again, Jason deliberately increased the force. I couldn't help it, I slapped him across the face. Lighter. His eyes darkened with even more desire, and he only went harder. The next day, because we'd exerted ourselves too much last night, I didn't wake up until almost noon. When I woke, lunch had already been prepared by the housekeeper. I was at the dining table drinking porridge when my phone lit up. Someone had sent me a friend request. After thinking for a moment, I accepted. Not long after, that person sent me a photo. In the picture, Jason and Bella were sitting across from each other in a cafe. The spoon slipped from my fingers, spilling porridge everywhere. I jolted from the burn and ran to the kitchen to rinse my scalded skin under cold water. The spot on the back of my hand throbbed with a fiery pain. That person messaged again. Remember to come to me when you divorce. As long as we collect enough cheating evidence, if I don't take at least half of Jason's assets, my last name won't be Hayes. My mind went blank. I stared at the photo, dazed. Jason came home very early that day. He sat down beside me and started peeling an apple. I swallowed the anger boiling in my chest. He cut the apple into small pieces, arranged them on a plate, and slid it toward me. I glanced at the apple and asked, "Were you at the company all day today?" He frowned at my hand. "Why is the back of your hand so red? Did you get burned today?" He didn't answer my question. He had to be guilty. He had to be feeling guilty because he had something to hide. So he really hadn't let go of Bella. He really wanted to rekindle things with her. Rage surged up. I slammed the plate of apples onto the floor. He froze, staring at me in confusion. "What's wrong?" I shot him a vicious glare, got up, and ran back to the bedroom, locking the door. Jason chased after me and pounded on it. "What are you throwing a tantrum for now? What did I do wrong this time?" "Hannah Riley, open the door." I put in earplugs and ignored him as he kept knocking. Then I messaged Patrick. "Help me divorce him." Sometime later, it went quiet outside. I slept badly, waking and drifting repeatedly. At this hour, Jason should have already gone to work. When I opened the door and went out, I found Jason asleep right outside it. His head was leaned against the doorframe, sleeping deeply. I glared at him and hurriedly changed clothes and went out. Patrick had asked to meet at a cafe. In the cafe, Patrick said, "Right now we only have that one cafe photo, but I also found that Jason transferred Bella $1 million. That's obviously him keeping a mistress. But this still isn't direct proof. If he insists on denying it later, we can't do much. So I'm going to collect more evidence that he's cheating." I gave a heavy hum of acknowledgement. Patrick went on, "During this time, don't let him notice anything unusual. Pretend you don't know a thing, it'll make it easier for me to gather evidence." I nodded. Patrick let out a long breath. After all these years, I finally get to see Jason suffer a little. When we were kids, he beat me at everything. My parents always compared me to him until I was worth nothing. Karma really does come around. It's finally his turn. I didn't care about his history with Jason. I stood up, grabbed my bag, and left. The moment I got home, Jason, who should have been at the office, was at home instead. Because he hadn't slept well last night, there were red veins in his eyes. I ignored him. If I looked at him, I'd think about him betraying me, and I wouldn't be able to stop myself from exploding. That would startle the snake in the grass, and it would affect Patrick gathering evidence that would benefit me. Jason blocked my path. He stared at me with a stormy face. "Where did you go?" I didn't even look at him. "Shopping." He clearly didn't believe me. "With who? Where did you go? Where are the things you bought?" The 3 questions in a row left me stunned. I was the one who used to interrogate Jason like this. So why was he checking up on me now? Angry, I shoved past him and stormed toward the bedroom. As I slammed the door, Jason put his hand in the doorframe and got it caught hard. He sucked in a sharp breath in pain. Seeing the skin broken and a bit of blood on his hand, I snapped, "Are you stupid? You knew I was closing the door and you still put your hand there. Call a private doctor yourself." He didn't move. He just stared at me. I shoved him once, then shut the door, and called the private doctor to come over. After the doctor arrived, I quietly cracked the door open and stuck my head out to check on Jason. He caught me red-handed. I jerked my head back and slammed the door with a bang to cover my guilt. I cursed myself in my heart for being such a hopeless love brain. He couldn't let go of his first love. He didn't like me. And yet I was worried about him. I was so mad I could die. I stayed in my room for most of the day. My stomach growled with hunger. I finally went out to forage in the living room. In the living room, Jason had already cooked a whole table of dishes, sitting there watching me. He said coldly, "Come eat." The smell was tempting. I huffed with pride and went over to eat. I could be angry, but I wasn't going to starve myself. I ate in big mouthfuls. Jason kept staring at me. The staring made me uncomfortable, and I snapped, "What are you looking at me for? Don't look. Put your head down and eat." Jason held my gaze for a few seconds, then picked up his chopsticks and started eating. But every so often, he still lifted his eyes to look at me. After the meal, he peeled fruit and set it in front of me. Usually he only peeled fruit when I reminded him to. Now he was doing it on his own. I decided this abnormal behavior was because he felt guilty about cheating. That had to be it. Jason's brother had a birthday and invited him out for drinks. After Jason hung up, he asked, "Can I go out drinking?" I wished he would leave right away. I really didn't want to see him. Go. Hurry up." Thinking about his worrying comprehension skills, I added, "That wasn't sarcasm. I truly mean it, I want you to go." He looked at me for a moment, then got up and left. It got very late, and Jason still didn't come back. Which suited me just fine. I kind of hoped he wouldn't come home at all tonight. In the middle of the night, I was jolted awake by my phone ringing. I answered in a fury. "Do you know what time it is?" A man's voice came from the other end. "Sis-in-law, I'm Jason's brother. Jason's drunk, can you come pick him up?" I gritted my teeth. "No." Just then, I heard the sound of a bottle dropping and shattering on the floor. The man lowered his voice. "Please come. If you don't, he won't leave, and he won't let us leave either. Please, sis-in-law. My wife is already calling to cuss me out, asking why I'm still not home. Sis-in-law, I'm begging you." I flung my phone onto the bed. In the end, I still went soft. I headed to the bar. At 3 in the morning, the streets were empty. But the bar was packed and lively. The pounding music made my head ache. I stopped at the door of a private room and pushed it open. Jason was sprawled on the sofa, drunk out of his mind, yet he was still pouring alcohol into his mouth. He demanded everyone drink with him, declaring that nobody was allowed to go home tonight. I walked up and kicked him. "Go home." He blinked when he realized it was me. A few seconds later he stood, swaying, and looked at me with a tone that was both accusing and aggrieved. "Everybody else's wife calls to nag them to go home. You don't. You control me more than anyone normally does, so why aren't you controlling me now?" I didn't say anything. Wasn't he the one who hated me controlling him most? His brothers were watching the show from the side. Jason shot them a glare. "Get out." After they left, he still sat there, unmoving. I turned as if I were going to leave. He staggered up and grabbed me. I half-dragged, half-carried Jason home. I was so tired I was panting. On the way, more than once, I had the urge to dump him on the roadside and walk off. It was already 4 in the morning. I dumped Jason onto the sofa, ignored him, and went back to my room to continue my beauty sleep. I hadn't slept long before something heavy pressed down on me until I could barely breathe. I opened my eyes and saw Jason on top of me. He looked at me with wet, glistening eyes. I tried to shove him away, but he didn't budge an inch. He suddenly kissed me. I slapped him. "Who said you're allowed to kiss me?" As if the words enraged him, he pinned my hands and kissed me several times in a row. My face was covered in his slobber. I glared at him viciously. "Jason, are you sick?" Instead of getting angry, he nodded. "I'm sick. It's all your fault." What was this, trying to scam me by pretending to be the victim? He leaned down and stole another kiss. He was the one forcing kisses on me, yet he looked pitiful and wronged. His throat bobbed. He choked up and demanded, "Why aren't you controlling me? Why aren't you ordering me around? Do you have another dog?" My heart jolted. Why was he saying this? What did he even mean? He was the one still tangled up with his first love. And now he was the one accusing me of not controlling him. Soon after, he passed out, sprawled across me, snoring loudly. I came to a conclusion, he was drunk and talking nonsense. Patrick came to me again. He asked, "Did you get found out?" Lately I haven't been able to catch any photos of him contacting Bella. I suspect he knows. I said I didn't know. He handed me the divorce papers. "Take these for now. I'll squat on it a few more days and see if I can get photos." I nodded. Lately, Jason had been coming home especially early every day, overly attentive. Suddenly it hit me. He was guilty. He had to know I'd found out, so he was trying to cover up what he had with Bella, so I wouldn't get any of his assets. How despicable. After all these years as husband and wife, he could actually do this to me. When Jason saw me come in, he hurried over, taking my bag and helping me out of my coat. He asked, "Who did you go out with today, and where did you go?" I said, "Shopping with my girlfriends." Jason's face changed. Slowly, he said, each word distinct, "Your girlfriend is in the living room." I let out an "ah," and went to the living room, and there she was, my friend. She waved at me. "Where did you go?" "I've been waiting ages." My lie had been exposed on the spot. So awkward. I turned my head, and saw Jason staring at me, dead still. It was chilling. I pulled my friend into my room. And told her I was getting divorced. When she heard, she cursed Jason with me for an entire afternoon. Halfway through, Jason even brought fruit in for the two of us. By evening, Jason called us out to eat. After dinner, he looked at my friend and said, "It's getting late. Your boyfriend is probably still at home waiting for you, right?" He was urging her to leave. My friend looked at me. I signaled her with my eyes, "Go." The moment she left, Jason stood and walked toward me. He was extremely tall, and he swallowed me in his shadow. I felt a little scared. His voice was cold with frost. "Where did you really go today? I didn't expose you in front of an outsider. Now you can give me an answer." I got up to leave. He blocked me. His gaze looked like he wanted to devour me. He stepped forward, I stepped back, until there was nowhere left to retreat. I shouted, Jason, you're not allowed to come any closer. He didn't listen. He kept advancing. Seeing how guarded I was, his face grew even darker, yet his eyes were full of sorrow. Hannah, what did you go do today? Why are you doing this? What's wrong with me? I changed everything you said I should change. Why? What do I have to do for you to be satisfied? My nose stung. He was the one who betrayed me first. I didn't understand why he was saying these things. But I didn't want to see Jason like this. My heart hurt, too. I slipped past him and ran back to the bedroom. From my bag, I took out the divorce papers. A few drops of tears fell onto them. The door suddenly swung open. But I'd clearly locked it. Jason walked in holding a key. He'd actually changed the lock while I was out. Stealing my own trick. The moment he came in, his gaze snapped to the divorce papers in my hands. He froze for a few seconds, then rushed over, his voice shaking. You want to divorce me? There was no way to hide it. I didn't deny it. Yes. I want a divorce. His hands trembled slightly as he stared at me in disbelief. Then he ripped my divorce papers to shreds. I shot up, furious, trying to salvage them. But they were already torn into pieces. I glared at him. Have you lost your mind? Weren't you the one who always wanted a divorce? Don't think I don't know what you talked about with your brothers. He stiffened. You read my chat history with them. Is that why you want to divorce me? He stepped forward and wrapped me in his arms. I never truly wanted to divorce you. That was just me talking big. Hannah, we're not divorcing. I know you're keeping other dogs outside, but they can't possibly be as obedient as I am. I'll listen to you from now on, okay? Don't divorce me, okay? My brain went blank. When did I ever keep dogs outside? I shoved Jason away. Seeing that, he looked even more wronged. If you can't bear to give up those dogs, then keep them. But we won't divorce. I only want you to come home before 9 every day. Let me keep taking care of you, okay? It felt like the wrinkles in my brain had been smoothed flat. What was he even thinking? I cut him off. I'm not keeping dogs. And the reason I want to divorce you, don't you know what it is? Don't you know what you did? I threw the photo of him and Bella, along with the transfer record, in front of Jason. He stared at them, brows drawn tight. You want to divorce me because of this? Hannah, listen to me. Bella's mother was sick. At my birthday banquet, she came to borrow money from me. That $1 million was a loan. And the cafe photo, that was her paying me back. We only met twice in total, once to borrow money, once to return it. And back then, we never even dated. I demanded, if you didn't date, why was everyone saying Mrs. Ford used $1 million to send Bella abroad? She was a scholarship student my mother sponsored, Jason said. My mom never gave her $1 million. Before she left, Bella came to thank my mother for supporting her all these years. I pressed on. Then what about the school anniversary? I heard you gave Bella 999 roses. Jason explained, that wasn't me. That was my brothers. They misunderstood my relationship with Bella. He looked so anxious he was on the verge of tears. I really have nothing to do with Bella. When she came to borrow money, I only lent it because of my mom. It's my fault. I didn't report it to you first. Forgive me this one time, okay? His voice broke, tears shimmering in his eyes. Don't divorce me, okay? I already transferred all the property under my name to yours. Everything I have is yours. Don't leave me. I stared at Jason in shock. Jason took me to see Bella. Bella explained to me face to face. Miss Riley, I'm sorry I made you misunderstand. My mother was sick then, I truly had no other way. I could only go to Jason to borrow money. I let out a small oh. It's fine. Just then, Patrick called again. My legal team is ready. When do we start? Jason snatched the phone and cursed Patrick out in a frenzy. After he hung up, Jason held my hand and took me home. The moment we got back, I saw the entire house filled with flowers. I looked at him, confused. When did you prepare all this? He lowered his gaze to me. A long time ago. Did you forget? Today is our 4th wedding anniversary. Only then did I remember. In the past, I always had to remind Jason of our anniversary. This time, he was the one reminding me. Looking at the roses filling the room, warmth rose slowly in my chest. Jason wrapped his arms around me and buried his face in my neck. In a small voice, he said, You're not allowed to not want me, okay? And you're not allowed to hide things from me. You scared me to death. Our anniversary almost turned into a divorce anniversary. I couldn't help letting out a laugh. Jason loosened his hold and looked at me. From now on, I'll come home before 8:30 every day, and I'll try not to drink. I smiled, rose onto my toes, and kissed him. He kissed me back immediately. We had this moment. And we had each other.